Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam and welcome back to the AFI project. Today we're going to be taking a look at One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This was directed by Milos Forman, who would go on to direct one of my all-time favorite movies, Amadeus, and it starred Jack Nicholson, Christopher Lloyd making his film debut, Brad Dourif, Danny DeVito, and Louise Fletcher. It tells the story of Randall McMurphy, played by Nicholson, who is transferred to a mental hospital after being charged with assault and battery and, well, rape. And he is transferred to this hospital that is run by Nurse Ratched. Yes, that is her actual name. And over a period of time, McMurphy rallies the other inmates to rebel against the nurse, who, according to this movie, is apparently a bad person. This was yet another first-time watch for me. It's another movie that I had always loved and had never seen. It's ranked up there as one of the greatest ever. It's on the AFI list, so of course it is. And no matter what critic I come across, they seem to include that as some of their greatest movies ever made. And yet, this is another one of those movies where I just have to say, I don't get it. I kind of feel the same way to when I talked about Chinatown. Coincidentally, that also starred Jack Nicholson. I like Jack Nicholson, and in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, there's a lot of stuff I like. It's directed by Milos Forman. It stars Jack Nicholson, like I mentioned, and it stars future legends like Danny DeVito and Christopher Lloyd. What's not to love? Well, I'll get to that in a little bit, but first let's talk about what I liked. Firstly, the acting across the board is really good. Jack Nicholson is wonderfully demented in this movie. He doesn't go full Shining off the wall, but he does have his moments, and you do feel some of the frustration that he does feel like sitting in this mental hospital, talking about his feelings. Without much dialogue, you can tell right away that he is a rebel, and he was just born to run. So for him to be in this hospital, it's like the worst thing ever. And as I said earlier, this was the film debut of Christopher Lloyd, who would go on to be Judge Doom in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and Doc Brown in this other series called Back to the Future. You may have heard of it. The movie also starred Danny DeVito in one of his first roles, and he would go on to have a career that spans to this very day, and an incredibly young-looking Brad Dourif, who would go on to be Chucky in the Child's Play movies, and Grima Wormtongue in the Lord of the Rings movies. So he's had a long career as well. And now let's talk about Louise Fletcher as Nurse Ratched. Now, in all of the reviews that I've seen or watched about this movie, you get the feeling that this character is being set up to be the villain. She is the evil nurse who the patients are going to rebel against. Well, now that I've seen this movie, I just have to sit there and ask, why is she the villain in all this? She does have her condescending moments, and she is very strict about the patients taking their pills, but outside of that, she just seems like a normal nurse, just trying to do her job, and she does suffer from headaches because, the other inmates either get out or just raise hell. In some cases, I kind of felt sorry for her, and that's not what I was trying to do. I was led to believe that in the reviews and the stuff that I read about this movie, it was like, okay, when the Nurse Fletcher character comes on the screen, she is clearly the antagonist. And now that I've seen the movie, I just gotta ask, really? She's the villain in all this? She seems like a normal nurse. Like, what's the problem? I was talking about it with my friend Rachel over at Rachel's Reviews, and I was talking about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and she said, well, it's taken from the perspective of the prisoners, and they will naturally see the nurse as the villain. And yes, she is absolutely correct, but again, it's not exactly like the patients are saints or anything. It's not just McMurphy. They're all handfuls, and they don't exactly make the job too easy. Again, this wasn't an intentional thing. It just, when the movie was, when I was watching the movie, I was sitting there, and I was just sitting there like, this is kind of a little lesser version of the Shawshank Redemption. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized, This is kind of like the Shawshank Redemption, except the Shawshank Redemption is a lot better. Both of these movies have like the same bare bones. It's about prisoners and a warden and the relationship that they're in. But at least in the Shawshank Redemption, there's a much clearer, like, the prisoners are meant to be more sympathetic and the warden is a piece of trash. We understand that the prisoners in the Shawshank Redemption are bad people, but at the same time, it's not exactly like they're doing anything bad once they're inside the walls. They accept the system as it is and they just try to rebel against it in their own little ways. Whether it's Burns keeping a bird inside of his jacket, or Red smuggling in stuff from cigarettes to a very large poster of Rita Hayworth into the prison, or whether it's Andy building the library. It's not exactly like they're rebelling per se, but they're not causing like any real pain. They're just trying to be like, okay, I'm here, I'm not really going anywhere, so I might as well just try and make this a little more tolerable. And then when the warden, who is, once again, a piece of crap, takes it all away from them, you're like, okay, now it is time to leave, and now it is time to rebel. There's more of a face-heel dynamic there, and it's more relatable to me. In One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, it's like, okay, the nurse is just trying to do her job, and the patients are just being bad people. There's a scene near the end of the movie where the patients just have their way with this hospital. They just tear it to pieces. They invite women in from the outside. Some of them have drugs, and it's just, okay, how am I supposed to be rooting for them? Especially considering the fact that Nurse Ratched is not really doing anything to make me hate her. If she's meant to be more nuanced, I guess I must have missed it. And so did Netflix, apparently. But what I'm trying to get at is this. This is yet another one of those movies where I had heard nothing but just amazing things about. Like, this is one of the greatest movies ever made. And when I finally sat down to watch it, I just shrugged and was like, okay, it's fine if you like it, but I don't get it. I will still have nothing but respect for Milos Forman. He directed Amadeus, one of my all-time favorite movies. But I guess with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, it just flew right over the top of me. But that is all for me, guys. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Next time on the AFI Project, we're going to be taking a hard right turn, and we're going to be talking about a genre that hasn't been covered on this review segment at all, and that is animation. And we're going to be talking about the very first full-length animated movie ever made, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam. I'll see you in the next one.